In this chapter, Elihu claims that Job has asked the question, "What profit is it to me, and what do I gain by not sinning?" That question is effectively reversed and asked in the New Testament. If I can live unrighteously and still receive the rewards of heaven because I've put my trust in Jesus, what's the point of living righteously? And in both cases, the answer to the question is that we live righteously not primarily for the reward, but because we long to please the God that we have relationship with already. If you've been saved by him, you will not go on sinning that grace may abound. Instead, you will turn from sin because you love the Lord. And likewise, if you have avoided sin but then suffering comes into your life, you shouldn't respond by saying, "Well, what was the point of avoiding that sin? I may as well indulge it if I'm going to suffer either way." Now, this is all, I think, a fascinating topic to explore and to study, and Elihu is going to explore it and study it, but the problem is, Job has not raised these questions. Elihu is firing an arrow with glorious accuracy, but he's aiming at the wrong target altogether. I would like to reply to you and to your friends with you. Look up at the heavens and see. Gaze at the clouds so high above you. If you sin, how does that affect him? If your sins are many, what does that do to him? If you are righteous, what do you give to him? Or what does he receive from your hand? God's essence is not affected by whether or not we are kind towards him. He is and will always be God. He is and will always be sovereign. He is and will always be holy. And while our faithfulness does bring him glory, it is not like he needs us. He's not sitting in the heavens thinking to himself, "I feel like I'm lacking some personal affirmation. I really wish that some people around here would worship me so that I can feel a bit better about myself." Sounds trivial, but that is the point that Elihu is making. God is not lacking anything such that your righteousness is something that he actually desperately needs, and therefore, in response, he is obligated to bless you in exchange for your righteousness. This is not some transactional relationship that you have with God. And likewise, he's not so fragile that your sin against him shatters his sovereignty or even his splendor. He is and will always be God. This is an example, and the truth is more startling than this, not less. If you went out into the back garden and saw some ants milling around on the floor, and somehow you discovered that one of those ants was using his tiny little hand to swear at you, you probably wouldn't be too personally wounded by it, would you? You might even just laugh it off. Similarly, if an ant spent all day searching for the best possible leaf to bring to you and offer as a gift, perhaps it would stir something up in your heart. Perhaps you would be moved that it would go to such effort. But the gift that it actually gives you is of negligible worth. You could pick 10,000 leaves in the time that it takes the ant to carry you that one. It's not a perfect analogy, but there's something similar here in the idea that if people are simply looking at God in a transactional manner, there is actually nothing we can give him that he doesn't already have, and therefore, how can we put him in our debt? We can't. Elihu makes the argument that your righteousness primarily affects the lives of those that you are connected with, and your wickedness, likewise, affects other people. Now, of course, these things do have a vertical dimension because God cares how we live. But you understand Elihu's point. If you are an evil person, the people who primarily suffer are those who live life alongside you. If you are a righteous person, then the blessing is that you get to enrich and improve the lives of others. And on top of that, God, because he is good, not because he is obligated. God may choose to bless you in life and certainly will bless you in the life that is to come. God himself is about to meet with Job, though of course Job doesn't know it. But we can flip forward a few chapters and we can see that in chapter 41, God will say to Job, "Who has a claim against me that I must pay? Everything under heaven belongs to me." As in, you cannot put God in your debt by your righteousness and force him to give you kindness. The fact is that he already is kind, because that is his nature. Likewise, in Psalm 50, God says, "I have no need of a bull from your stall, or of goats from your pens, for every animal of the forest is mine, and the cattle on 1,000 hills." Elihu, I think, is raising some really thought-provoking questions in this chapter. The problem, as I've mentioned, is that he is raising them to a man who didn't ask them. But what about you? What about me? Do we tend to think that if we are good Christians, if we read our Bibles, if we give to the church, if we tell others of the hope that we have, then God is somehow obligated, forced into being good towards us. If we have such a two-dimensional, transactional view of the world, we will come utterly unstuck when suffering enters our lives. Instead, we should take God at his word, that he has already been unfailingly good to us. Righteousness, then, is the only reasonable response, and because he is good, he chooses to bless us, not because we deserve it, and certainly not because we have earned it from him, but purely because he is a gracious and giving God, and we simply cannot outgive him. In the end, when all is accounted for, you will stand on the other side of death and you will say, God has been unreasonably kind and generous towards me, and my earthly devotion was a drop in the ocean compared with what he deserves.